Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time this week and spending it right here with us on NAC TV. I'm Eoin Devereux, news and sports reporter with the Banner Press, welcoming you to the show. Joined this week by Casper, Wehrhahn, news reporter with the press as well. Casper, good to have you in this week.
Good to be here again and to go through another edition of the paper.
And good to have you actually throughout the week, because if it weren't for you, this would just be a sports-specific version of the Banner Press. We'd be Sports Illustrated for all of you that still remember that magazine that used to come out. But fortunately, you were able to get a couple news-specific story, especially the one right on the front page. It's something we talked about a little bit previously. Showed a picture and cut line of the local hockey team participating in a Neepawa Eats Healthy initiative. And now Neepawa Eats Healthy has expanded this even more so. And you got the exclusive on that, don't you, Casper?
Yes, I was on the ground, as it were, the day that it happened. They did the official launch of their Meal in 30 program. And if you hadn't seen the previous article that Eoin worked on, essentially it's a program where at the local stores, specifically Safeway and Co-op food store in Neepawa, there are recipe cards provided on location, and any ingredients for that recipe are indicated. It's a monthly recipe, and it's basically just to incentivize people to, you know, get cooking in their kitchen and have something that is not only good for you, but will energize you, and you know, just to get involved in that process again, because it can be a little intimidating cooking. I think, you know, you have a lot of things to think about, measurements, if you need to follow a recipe that has very specific measurements and things like that. Then you have to do all the prep and all that, but it doesn't have to take that long, and that's what Neepawa Eats Healthy is really trying to get through here, just to get people doing that again and show that it doesn't have to take, you know, an hour all the time, and it can be fun and healthy and, well, good for you.
No, that's very good about that as well. And we were speaking just before we went live on air. We were talking about that. It's great to see something like that locally and on the ground here in Neepawa. Unfortunately, sometimes in the community, there's ideas, great ideas that'll pop up, and just there's not the follow through to sort of get her done. So to see Neepawa Eats Healthy come up with the concept, create the concept, and move forward with it like they are, it's really inspiring, because again, even if it doesn't work, even if this is something that's only for a few months, they got the concept, they put the concept forward, they tried it, and they know, they understand, okay, it doesn't work. I hope it does work. I genuinely do. So I'm got to commend them on that, first and foremost. And for them to get organizations, businesses like Safeway, a national and international grocer, and as well the local co-op as well, one of the bigger businesses in our community as well, both of them to step up in this way. Really sort of, I got to commend them for doing it as well. And we'll see how it plays out, because yeah, cooking can be a little bit intimidating. My mother was a chef, Casper. She worked in a hotel restaurant for 31 years.
Oh, okay.
When my family moved here from Ireland to Thompson, Manitoba in '73, oh, now I'm aging myself, as if the beard wasn't aging me enough. But in '73 until about 2004, and she worked there, and she knew how to cook. She's a very good cook. And she taught me and my older brother how to cook. She thought that was very important for young men, but in general, young people need to learn how to cook, need to learn how to put things together like that. But not everybody's getting those lessons nowadays, and that's no fault of the home, you know, the families. That's no fault of the mother, the father, the parents. Sometimes life gets busy. Sometimes life gets complex, and these types of things, unfortunately, might fall to the wayside or might not have the time. So every little bit helps a family, and this is one of those initiatives, I think, that's going to help families. Maybe I'm wrong. I certainly hope I'm not.
Yeah, I think you're right. And an aspect as well is that, like, if you're anything like me, you have a hard time figuring out what the heck you want to have for supper. That's one of my biggest struggles, that I don't know what I want. And well, if I do figure it out, depending what it is, it can take me a little bit extra time because, well, for certain things I don't have the best memory, so I may have to check a recipe like 20 times for the same ingredient and instruction line, because I need to make sure I have it right. I'm putting in the right thing in the right amount. And, you know, this will maybe give you some new ideas. And the first recipe really is very simple, and you can change it in quite a few different ways to, you know, fit so that, you know, it suits your taste. Like, you can substitute things easily, like it's chicken quesadillas. If you don't want chicken in there, you can use pork or something else. You can have no meat at all if you really want to.
Oh,
and yeah, it's as simple as, if you're using chicken, you cook the chicken with the seasoning, you put in the tortilla with, you know, the cheese and all the veggies that you want, and just bake it in the oven, and it's done.
Too many people, it seems, find intimidation when it comes to cooking as well, I think. And I won't even just say that for young people. I know people my age that are still, to this day, a little intimidated by going in and doing something other than microwaving or buying something frozen and throwing it in the stove. And that's not the way it should be. Over the winter, this is slightly aside from this, I've changed my eating habits. I was eating way too much junk food. It was just easier just to go there or to go to a fast food place. And as delicious and as convenient as those can be, it does start to catch up to you. You feel a little logy, you just feel a little... But with these type of healthier alternatives, I think it's going to help people out in terms of their energy as well. A quesadilla, a well-prepared quesadilla, is a much healthier option than, and again, I'm not going to name any fast food businesses. I don't want. We enjoy your service. We love your service. So, but eating something like that on a daily basis is just no good for anyone.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, bottom line, if you're feeding yourself, that is excellent. That's all you need to do. But if you're able to take the time to make something like that for yourself, or even just, you know, pick some other options that you know, provide you with the nutrition that your body needs, you'll notice a difference. You will, for sure.
Most definitely. Now you can learn a little bit more by picking up a copy of the Neepawa Banner Press. It's right on the front page of this week's edition of the newspaper. Carries over onto page 18 of the paper, so you can learn a little bit about it. You go into either the Safeway or the Co-op, you're going to see the signage. It's clear as day. Give it a try. Just give it a once over. See if it works for you. And if it does, I hope you look forward to the Meal in 30 program coming out each and every month into the near future. Or if you don't want to prepare food at all, you really should have got a ticket to the sports dinner recently. You see that segue? That was seamless.
Absolutely.
You didn't even notice it. It was that good. No. Our next story we're going to talk about is the sports dinner, the Neepawa area. 15th annual Neepawa area sports dinner. It happened last Friday at the Yellowhead Hall. It's put on by the Neepawa Titans Junior A Hockey Club. They did a tremendous job. Volunteers, members of the Neepawa Tigers high school football team actually volunteered helping out with that, as well as High Life. They do such an amazing job each and every year with the meals since they've taken that over. I hear from so many people during the event and a day or so after the event of just how good the meal was. It's great that High Life steps up and supports locally in that way. I wasn't able to attend Casper myself. I was able to sort of bounce in and out of the event as it progressed, and we're going to get to the reasons for that in a little bit. But I didn't enjoy the meal this time out, but in previous years I have, and it's been tremendous. It really has been something just unbelievable. The whole event is a whole heck of a lot of entertainment. So I forget. I was attending an event maybe last year or a year before. Have you ever attended the sports dinner? Have you ever had to cover it?
I've not, no.
Okay, it may have been Kira Patterson or Diane Warner that had to cover it in a previous year, because I remember there was some sporting event that was going on, and I couldn't be there in person, so somebody else went and had the meal and just raved about the whole thing. So, yeah, no, just my little aside there. In terms of the actual festivities that went on during the event, they had some very special announcements. They awarded the prizes and the awards for all the individual players of the Neepawa Titans, and we're going to get to that after this part, where they announced the Sports Person of the Year, the Neepawa Sports Person of the Year. Every year, they like to single out an individual or individuals, it has been multiple people in previous years, for what they do to help accentuate, to create positivity in the sports landscape in Neepawa and the surrounding area. So many people have won it over the years. There's a list on page 2. You can see some of the notable recipients of this award ever since I came here. This is pretty much ever since I came here, I've been paying attention to it. We're not quite sure who won before 2012. We'll hopefully track that down sometime in the future and share that with you. But as of 2012, we've got a listing of all those individuals, and worthy ones as well. And the same with the person who won this year. This year's Neepawa Sports Person of the Year, Troy Brister, the coach for the Neepawa Tigers high school hockey team, has been doing it, helped to create the program back in the day, and came back to the program a few years ago and has helped to steer it in an amazing direction since then. They had a great season. They just actually won their first round playoff series. That's the reason, Casper, why I couldn't get any good food, is because I was in the other end. I was in the arena. They were playing their third and deciding game in the first round of their playoff series against Bertle. So I was covering that game, and you can find those details on the pages of this week's Banner Press. You see that? Subtle as well.
Very good, yeah.
And the families, after the game was over, Tigers won. Families, the players, everybody came over. They brought Troy over. Troy wasn't in the loop on this. They hadn't shared with him that he was going to win it. It was a complete and utter surprise. So they brought him over after the game, and thank goodness they won. How downbeat would it have been if they had lost the game, if they had just been beat 12-0 or something like that, and then coming over? Thank goodness they actually won the game and did it in a positive manner. That would have been like, congratulations, sorry and sorry. It's like, oh geez.
A little bit of a silver lining in that case, maybe, but it's definitely, I think, a little sweeter that they won the game beforehand.
Well, that's the thing about this job from time to time, especially if you cover sports, because sometimes you've got to talk to people after they've lost. It's like, okay, you were just humiliated. How do you feel? Never the most sort of casual conversation when something like that occurs. But fortunately, Troy and the team had won, and he came over. He was surprised. It was a short speech, but I had a chance to speak with Troy a day or so after the fact. He was able to sort of think about it, ruminate on the experience, and he shared some wonderful details on it, on what it meant to him to be viewed in this way, and what he gets from being able to share with the team, with the families and all of that, his experiences, and shape these young individuals, not just as players, as athletes, but as people moving forward. So it's really great, and I'm glad to have been able to sort of share this story with you once again. You can find it. It's on page 2 of this week's edition of the Banner Press. Very proud to be able to share that with you each and every time. Got a huge picture as well as Troy and the leadership team for the Neepawa Tigers. You can get a closer look at that by picking up a physical copy of the Banner Press anywhere in Neepawa or surrounding communities. Or if you're not able to get a physical copy, you can go to mywestman.ca every Friday morning. It pops up on the website, and you'll be able to read it in PDF form or click onto our issues link and see it from there. So, and something else I noticed as well, not just with the Tigers players, but also with the Neepawa Titans who were in attendance for the dinner as well. Everybody's wearing blue suits nowadays. Like, it's amazing to me. All the young people were wearing blue suits, brown belt, brown shoes. That's the style right now, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, all right. I guess I got to go. My suit wasn't blue enough. I need a bluer suit. What I need to do is get this fabric right here and get a tailor and then have them make up a nice blue suit for me. I think that'll work.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. But once again, congratulations to Troy and to the Neepawa Tigers hockey team who came away with a big win and are advanced on to the next round. They're playing Killarney in the semifinal of the championship bracket. We'll have that coverage for you in next week's edition. Hopefully it'll be positives. And even if it isn't, even if they are bested by Killarney, they still had an amazing season, and kudos to them. All right, now we talked a little bit about the Titans Award winners. We're not going to go too in-depth into it, but we do have a full page of pictures of all the individuals who ended up picking up awards at the Titans annual dinner to sort of cap off the season. They got a couple games left, but they had a little bit of a free weekend to be able to do it this weekend, so they did it with 3 or 4 games remaining on their schedule. We've got pictures of every individual that picked up awards, including some others. Tara McCarty and Tammy Dudenhofer were singled out for Volunteer of the Year awards. Well deserved. Congratulations on that. Mary Ellen Clark was honored for her 16 years of service as a billet and the billet coordinator for the Neepawa Titans / Junior A Hockey Club / Natives throughout the years. She has been such a tireless and giving individual for the team. It's wonderful that they took the moment to sort of showcase her like that and what she did for them. And as well, all the individual player awards. I'm not going to go through them all. You're going to have to see it for yourself. If you do get a chance, there is one more home game for the Neepawa Titans. It's going to be on March 17th. It's going to be on St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully you're able to get down to the Yellowhead Center and see the final game of the year. I believe it's the 17th. They got a home and home against Selkirk. Yeah, I think Selkirk. They're going to be in Selkirk at the Rec Center in Selkirk on the 18th. Our final game on the 17th. Although check your local listings and check your newspaper for times and dates. So good luck to them as they close out their season. All right, now let's get off the sports pages for a few minutes and get back to the news. As we said at the start of this episode, Casper was the one that did the actual news this week. And here's another news with a tinge of sports related to it about some local regional participants who took part in Manitoba's Special Olympics. Very pleased we were able to get this shared with us, and I shared it with you, Casper, the email that was sent to us. And you were able to get the details on this great story.
Yeah, this was a great one to work on, and as Owen said, a little bit sports-oriented, but more on the personal interest side. But I was able to speak with some local people, as in, Banner Press area local, who actually went to the Manitoba Special Olympics with athletes from the area, and their experience there at the games, and a bit about their background as well. And it was great. I talked with Jean, and I apologize if I mispronounced the last name, Hachkowski, and Natasha Moore. I don't recall where Jean is from off the top of my head. I believe Minnedosa. Yeah, Minnedosa, and Natasha from Erickson. And Jean previously was a nurse. She's retired now. And her husband had actually been a coach for one of their kids in past years. So coaching is new to her on a personal front. But Natasha also is no stranger to coaching. She's had coaching as part of her life for, well, quite a long time in her life, and has done coaching personally for quite a while now. So in terms of going to the Special Olympics, that at least was something very new to her, and both coaches very proud of their athletes and how they did there, and the experience overall for both of them was just incredible.
It really is, and it's great to be able to share that story. In larger centers, in larger communities, a story like this can be shared in different ways. In smaller communities, though, sometimes, unfortunately, it seems to slip through the cracks. So first off, thank you for the individual. I don't remember the individual's name off the top of my head who passed the tip to us. We do appreciate that. We really do. Otherwise, this story would have slipped past us. I acknowledge it. It would have slipped through our fingers. But you stepped up and you shared it with us, and Casper was able to take this story and develop it. And it's one of those ones very much I'm glad that we are able to share with you this week. So, all right. So with that, let's get on to a little more sports-related stuff. This is a very sports-heavy edition of the paper. I'm just going to put the warning out for you as well. But I hope that you will, if you're not into the sportsing, as it were, I hope you will still take a few minutes, because there's a lot of other interesting things in there as well. But I want to give a shout out to the Neepawa Tigers high school basketball teams. First off, we got a full story and a submitted story on the junior varsity team, who ended up winning their zone championship last week. It was just after our printing deadline that the game was played, and we got it written up for this week's edition. It was they were able to defeat Carberry in the zone final 64-54, and I was there at the game, was able to get some pictures, was able to get a little bit of information. I am very appreciative of that. And of course, Grant, our hero, Jaime as he's known for everybody in town, he sent in an article as well, sharing some of the exploits of the team throughout the year, some of the people that needed to be spotlighted, some of the families and volunteers who helped out this year who needed to be spotlighted. We do appreciate that. And I was able to cover the game aspect of it and just the excitement, the entire energy of it. And you'll see as well on page 20, and you'll see even more so in next week's edition of the Banner Press, the varsity teams, just before our deadline, had their games. The boys' varsity team was able to finish off a flawless season with a win in the zone championships. The varsity girls team, who again had an amazing year themselves, were upended by a team based out of Gladstone, if I remember correctly. So congratulations to William Morton Collegiate on winning the girls' varsity. Congratulations to Neepawa on winning the boys' varsity. Expanded details on both those games and both those teams is going to be appearing in the next edition. If you'd like to see a picture, you can find that on page 20, as well as a little bit of a cut line on the Neepawa Ballers Basketball League. They took a road trip down to Brandon recently for an event. Rafael Flores I was able to speak with on that. And unfortunately, this is part of the reality of a small weekly newspaper. I didn't have the time to be able to get it done in our deadline. I would have loved to have had that story and the varsity stories in this week's edition of the Banner Press, but that's just the reality of the time constraints. There's only so many hours in the day. And well, to be honest with you, we're a couple people short. There's individuals who have moved on to bigger and better things. There's individuals who have moved on to different things, and we commend them for that. But we're the only two reporters. So,
and one of us is down a car right now. I should have it soon, though, so I'll take some of the pressure off you very shortly.
And one of us isn't very good at it, I'm figuring this out as I go 8-9 years in. But we're going to have those stories and much more in upcoming editions. We try and hit them as quickly, as promptly as we possibly can. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. But we thank you for sort of sticking with us and bearing with us as we do that. All right, let's go on to the ice. From the hardwood to the ice right now. And we're going to check in with some of our local hockey teams. Just a quick rapid fire. The Neepawa Titans Junior A Hockey Club has been officially eliminated from postseason contention after a recent loss to the Steinbach Pistons. It was a heck of a game, and you can watch the game if you haven't seen it. Hopefully it'll be a rebroadcast happening in the near future right here on NACTV. NACTV is able to broadcast every single home game for the Neepawa Titans, just usually on a tape delay. They do it live for Hockey TV, but there is a slight delay, but you can still see the excitement from the comfort of your own home each and every week. Maybe not soon, because again, they're not going to be in the postseason, but they still put in a good year. They got about 3 games left, Casper, and I was saying this to Ken Waddell actually in the back. They haven't had a winning season since 2012, I believe. But this year's season, if they're able to pick up maybe 3 of a possible 6 points in their next final 3 games, it will be their most successful season in about 13 years. They got 51 points right now. I think their most successful season ever in that time was about 54 points, maybe 55. So the team's making progress. They're making gradual progress, improving. So don't be down on the team. They're doing the best they can, and they've made improvements, and hopefully that means bigger and better things for them coming next year.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely too bad that they didn't, that they weren't able to pull through there. But the fact that they've improved and succeeded in the ways that you've mentioned, that means a lot still, and I hope that they're very proud of their work so far.
Even if you're not into sports, it's a sense of community pride when you have something like that. Whether it's the basketball teams, as we talked about, whether it's the high school hockey team, which we shared, they defeated Bertle in the first round, or whether it's the Titans or the Farmers, the Senior A. There's that little pride that, you know, your locals are doing well, your hometown team, you want them to do well, even if you're not going to every single game. Speaking of which, got to congratulate the Gladstone Lakers, just a little down the road from Neepawa. Gladstone Lakers for the Tiger Hills Hockey League, a consistent program. They defeated the Farmers in the playoffs, and they've moved on to face the Mendoza Bombers in the next round of the Tiger Hills Hockey League playoffs, so that's going to be an exciting series. I'll probably go out to one of those communities, get some pictures, get some information on those games. So looking forward to that. So there was so much more we could cover. We've got everything for your farm that's in this week edition. We've got a very interesting letter to the editor involving care homes. Ken Waddell and I talked about it. We wanted this letter in there. It's a tough letter, though. It's a difficult reality that this letter brings up. So hopefully you will look at it, and if you have a response to it, we'd love to hear from you on any of this. If you have any response to anything we've got in our paper, you can always contact us at 476-3401, or you can get to us via email at news@neepawabanner.com. If it's sports related, sports@neepawabanner.com. Always appreciate it. Like I said, we try our best to hit every single story we can. And if you can help us out a little bit on that, it is always appreciated. Because we want to be your hometown paper. We want to be your region's paper. And it takes that sort of partnership between you and us to sort of make that happen. So, as usual, Casper, good that you took a half hour and sort of sat in for this one. Appreciate it.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Thank you.
And again, once again, thank you. We can't do this. NACTV can't do this unless you're tuning in on a regular and consistent basis. Even if it's this show, whether it's the hockey, whether it's the bingo, playing of the town council, these types of stations are becoming more and more of a rarity, and the only reason this one's still around is because of you. That's a big deal. And don't think that the people of NACTV and the people of the Neepawa Banner Press don't understand that and don't appreciate it and appreciate you. So thank you each and every week for putting up with me and putting up with Ken Waddell. Everybody likes Casper, you know. and thank you for tuning in to the story behind the stories. Have yourself a good week.